Hello there, and welcome to today's webinar, Hands-On with a Book Creator for New Users. We are just 1 minute shy of the top of the hour, but I couldn't wait to get on with you all so that we could chat for a moment so that I could hear a little bit about all of you. So if you are here and you can view the GoToWebinar control panel on the right-hand side of your screen, this is for those of you who are joining us live today. You are should be able to see a few different kind of drop downs and areas, but I'd love for you to head over to the questions tab. That should allow you to send in question or an answer to the question I'm about to pose to you. If you're here with us live tonight, go ahead and type in your name, say hello and where you're from so that I know you can hear me, so that you can see my screen. So on the GoToWebinar control panel, you should see the questions option on the menu. Suzette is here. Hello, Suzette. Right below where it says questions, you should see a space that says type the answer here. So go ahead and say hello, say where you're joining us from today, so I can give a few shout outs before we jump in. Let me know you can hear me. Let me know that you can see my screen. Let's see who else is here today. Sabrina is here from East Texas. Becky is here. Welcome, Becky. Julie's here from the Hudson Valley, New York. Awesome. Welcome, Trisha. Welcome, Rini. Glad to have you here. Welcome, Carlina. Welcome to have you here from Texas, too. So glad to have you. Let's see who else is with us today. All right. Beatrice is here from Duluth. Welcome, Jane from Cincinnati. And apologies if I am trying my best with names and pronouncing places correctly since we're doing this virtual today. Welcome, Jessica from Central Texas and Kathy from Rochester. So many folks joining us live. I am super excited that you are here today for this webinar. I, of course, am recording the webinar as well, so you'll be able to watch this and replay it, especially if you're a super new user to Book Creator. If you want to add now, those of you joining live in the question box, maybe in just a few words, maybe you say, I'm brand new to Book Creator, or I've used it a little bit, or it's my first time using this tool. Share with everyone, let me know, and I'll give some shout outs if you want to share a little bit about your experience with Book Creator. Maybe you're totally new. Awesome, Martha. Excited you're going to check it out for the first time with us tonight. Maybe you're a first time user like Kathy. Great. So you're going to see it in action today. There's a few others of us who use it all the time and are looking for some more ideas. That is awesome. Plenty of you who are brand new to this awesome tool. Great. Well, if you are joining us live today, you're going to have that question box up the entire time. Now, I'm going to be jumping in, moving through some slides. I'm doing double duty today of showing you it live, as well as showing you for my slide deck. So if you see my little thumbnails on the side of the screen, that's okay, because that's how I'm going to navigate through the slide deck. But you know that that question box is going to be there the whole time during this live webinar. So make sure as I'm going through to put any questions that you have, because even though I'll share a bunch of different things, I'll take us out for a live demo, I will pause and give you an opportunity to try out some things if you want to on Book Creator. And that also gives me the opportunity to pause, check to see if you have any questions as we are going through tonight's webinar. So right now you should see my title slide. It says hands-on with Book Creator for new users. And this is where we're going to get started. So welcome tonight to our live webinar, and welcome to those of you who might be watching this, the recording. If you haven't been to Book Creator's YouTube channel yet, you definitely want to head over there and subscribe, because every time there's a new webinar this summer, they will post it right there in the YouTube channel so that you you can find it, watch it again, or share it with a colleague. All summer long, we're going to host a series of webinars. I'll be back here with you live 10 times all the way through the beginning of September. So I am so excited to join you today. My name is Monica Burns. I am a former New York City public school teacher, a book creator ambassador. I've teamed up with the folks at Book Creator for several years now, sharing content, creating ebooks, and talking about Book Creator. And of course, I'm also an EdTech and curriculum consultant. So if you followed along with my blog, I'm the founder of ClassTechTips.com. You can also find me on Instagram at ClassTechTips. And same thing for Twitter and Facebook and all of those places. I am just so pumped to be back again this summer to host these webinars for you. So we are going to go through a few things during our next 40 minutes together. We are going to look at Book Creator, talk about all different kinds of project ideas to hopefully get your wheels spinning for things that you can do with this awesome open-ended creation tool this school year. We're going to explore Book Creator features. So I'm going to show you some screenshots. I'm going to talk a little bit about what you can do with Book Creator. Then I'm going to take you out live to my Chrome browser where I'm showing off Book Creator today. And as we go through, I'm going to encourage you to try out Book Creator on whatever device you have nearby. So I'm going to model Book Creator on Chrome. So we're really going to focus on the Chrome platform today. If you are watching this on a computer, I'm on a MacBook today, but I have my Chrome browser. So as we go through, I'll share some instructions in case you want to open up another tab on your computer and try out Book Creator on your device. I'm going to prompt us with some activities to do as we go through. Although we're focused on Chrome today, you could, of course, try out some of the things that we'll look at on iPad, so on the Book Creator iOS app, but you'll see screenshots and you'll see a demo from Chrome today. And at the very end, we'll save a few minutes at the end of tonight's live event for a Q&A so that you can answer questions. And so I can scroll through this question box and make sure I get to as many of you as I can today. So if you are totally new to Book Creator, quick few things for you to consider. Book Creator is an open-ended creation tool for iOS, like that iPad comic book you see on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, and Chrome. So a Chrome web browser on a MacBook like I'm using now, or Chromebook that you might be using. So lots of different ways to access Book Creator and put it into action in your classroom. Now, I use the term open-ended creation tool all the time. I love open-ended creation tools like Book Creator because there's no right way to use it. It is something that doesn't require you to follow a particular pathway or earn badges or get it right. I'm doing air quotes as I say, get it right. There's no right way to use it. So this is a perfect tool to give students some space to be creative, for you to be creative as you're designing learning activities for students. There is just so many directions you can take when it comes to using Book Creator with students. So students and teachers can create and publish books with this tool. These are just a couple examples, and Book Creator has so many on their website for you to explore for inspiration. So the publishers here, the creators here, might be your students working collaboratively or independently. It might be you as a teacher or educator leading a group of students or other teachers, and you can create and publish books. So publishing them online as an EPUB file. We'll talk a little bit about those different options as we move through today. When you are using Book Creator, it is something that allows you to combine a whole bunch of different types of media. So it's very straightforward. You can make interactive pages with voice, text, video, images, and more. So there are all sorts of things that you can add to your page when you are using Book Creator to create books or for your students to create books. It's really something that you can tailor with activities for students of all ages. I've been in classrooms where it's been used with students in elementary school, school. I've worked with adult learners who are creating books with this tool. So you can really do a lot of different things with this particular tool. So teachers on Chrome, so this is where things get a little special for those of you who are on Chrome with me today. Teachers can create libraries for students and invite students into their library. You're going to see me today create a book in my library, and I'll show you how you can invite others to a library too. So teachers can manage a teacher dashboard. This gives you the opportunity to create a teacher library and invite other folks in, whether it's your colleagues or students. The free version lets you make one library with 40 books, and the paid version lets you make 10 libraries with 100 books. So it just depends on the version that you have. Now, this is just a quick overview of some of the things that are going to be important to keep in mind before we jump into some activities. Book Creator, remember, is open-ended, so there's no one way to use it. You can be very creative, whether you're on iOS and Chrome. Students and teachers can create and publish books, and users can make interactive pages combining media like voice, text, video, images, and more. So students of all ages can use Book Creator, whether you have an email address or not. We'll talk about logging in just a moment. And teachers can create libraries and invite their students to participate in this as well. So in order for us to talk a little bit about Book Creator today, I want to give you some context and some fun ways to use Book Creators really in all different subject areas and all different grade levels. So you might make digital portfolios or poetry books or step-by-step guides or science reports, learning journals, comics, you name it. It's really up to you what you and your students want to do with Book Creator. But to help us move through and talk a little bit about some examples, I want to show you what it looks like in different classrooms across a few different subject areas just to get your wheels spinning. But before I do, I want you to jump back over to that question box, and I'd love for you to jump in and share what's something that your students are making this past school year. What's something that they've created to show what they know? It could be digital, or it could be more of a glitter and glue type of creation. So what's something that your students have created this year to show what they know? I'm going to peek into the question piece here. So Donna shared about thinking maps and graphic organizers. Patricia shared about digital posters. Suzanne's students are making videos and posters. Rini shared about math learning, and Dana shared about digital portfolios, magazines about different topics. Awesome, Rebecca. Slide presentations, lots and lots of good things coming in here. So it seems like there's lots of ways that you are creating with students already. So I'm super excited for you to see some of these Book Creator ideas too. So when it comes to using Book Creator with students, you might do something like this example. All of these are available on Book Creator's blog. So if you check out some of the ideas over there, you'll see all of these there waiting for you to take a closer peek at. So here's an example with a screenshot from Geoboard where students have used annotation to label different shapes. Here's another example from elementary school with a combination of text and video for a poetry book. Here's another one with different sight words in action, so both audio, video recordings, as well as images. Another one with a recap of a special trip full of some of the awesome comics like the wow and amazing that are so great for those kind of recaps. There's also examples from middle school on Book Creator's blog, including one like this one where you see student poetry shared. There's the opportunity for you to pull in images from lots of different places, create text boxes, like the ones that you see here. And here's a favorite I love sharing. I'm going to take you out so that you can see it when I go through each page of the book here. So as I go through this example, Xavier's respiratory system book is also one you can check out on Book Creator's blog. You can see that with this published book, as I turn the pages, there are pictures, there are images, there are annotations, snapshots, as well as section headings and paragraphs, and even voice.
Carbon dioxide goes back out your lungs.
That pulls into here too. So lots of great ways to use this tool in the classroom with students. So a couple more high school examples to get your wheels spinning, like this digital storytelling example. One here you see recapping a moment in history. Computer science example here with some tutorials, and even for professional learning. So all of these examples are ones that you can find on Book Creator's blog. They've been shared there. And so on their website, I'll show you real quick here. So on their website at bookcreator.com, you'll see lots of other examples, including some of the ones I just showed you right here on their landing page. So now that we've taken a look at some examples, I want to go through some of the logistics for using Book Creator, and then we're going to jump in and we're going to make some books. So let's go ahead and start talking about logistics. So as I mentioned, there is Book Creator on the App Store and then Book Creator for Chrome. So we're going to take a look at Book Creator for Chrome today. If you want to get started with it and you go to the chat box at the bottom of your GoToWebinar panel, you'll see that I put a link in there to app.bookcreator.com. That's where we're going to take a look at Book Creator today. When you are using Book Creator, students can access it on any device with a Chrome web browser. This means they can use a different Chromebook every day, right? They can log in from a computer lab. They can log in from a cart of devices that you have in your classroom. It doesn't matter where they access it from, as long as it's a Chrome web browser where they can jump in using their login. And so there's a few different ways students can log in. They can have an email that they use, and then they'll join with a special code. I'll show you what joining looks like in just a moment. Or your students who don't have email addresses, maybe it's younger students, that's one where you can set up QR codes for them as well. So there's different implementation models for making this happen. You might see Book Creator used in a one-to-one classroom where students log in and work on their book, or use Book Creator like a journal to put in entries every day or once a week. And then you can also use Book Creator in blended learning stations. There's a school I work with not too far from where I live, actually, and they use Book Creator in blended learning stations where students jump in short rotations. They work on their book over the course of a week. So there's lots of different ways you can put this into action. You'll want to think about the way that your school is using digital devices as you think about some of the things we talk about today, so that you can make some decisions for what this will look like in your particular learning environment. So let's take a look at Book Creator together. I'm going to talk a little bit now about signing in and getting started, and then we're going to try some things out. So as I'm going through today, if I'm moving through a little fast for you and you want to make sure that you have all the information you need, don't worry. We're going to post this webinar on YouTube, on Book Creator's YouTube channel. So that way you can pause at any time, you can go back and know exactly what you need to do step by step. So know that that resource is going to be up and available for you very shortly. So let's take a look at Book Creator together now. Just like I mentioned to you, app.bookcreator.com is where you'll go on your Chrome web browser to jump into Book Creator. And when you get to app.bookcreator.com, you'll see the web browser down there at the bottom of the screen. You'll see two different options pop up, either student sign in like you see here, or teacher sign in like you see here. Let's go back to student sign in for a second. So students can sign in using Google Single Sign-On. using Office 365, so right away with the email address they use for other parts of the school day, or they can sign in with a QR code. So you'll see those as the three main options on the screen. Right below QR code, you'll also see the option to sign in with Clever. So if your school is using Clever, that's an option too. Signing in with a QR code does require that your device's webcam is enabled. Some schools disable the webcam from student devices, so you'll just want to be mindful of that when you're thinking about the logistics of making this happen. So those are your options for having students sign in. When teachers sign in, they move to this other little button right next to the student sign in, and they can sign in with Google, with Office 365, with an email that is not hosted by Google or Office 365, or they can sign in with Clever. So you have a little bit of a different option. When you go to sign into Book Creator for the first time to set up your teacher dashboard and create books like today, you can use the teacher sign in button, and then you can sign in with Google, Office 365, or with email, or of course, if you're doing Clever deployment, there's an option for that too. Once you're signed in, you'll see a screen that looks like this one. And it's going to tell you there are no books in this library yet, and it's your opportunity to create a book. So when you go to create a book, you'll tap on the gold new book button, and then you'll have the choice to make a book of these 6 shapes. So portrait shape or landscape, square or landscape, in either blank or in comic format. So you can choose either one. Then when you jump in, you use the plus sign to put anything you want on your page. So I'm going to take you through this live so you can see it in action. So I'm already signed in. I use Google Single Sign-On to access my Book Creator library. And I have a book that I've already made. It's waiting for me here. But today I'm going to make a new book with you. So I'm going to go ahead and press the new book button. And just like you saw on my slide deck, it gives me these 6 options to choose from. I usually use landscape because it's a little bit easier to show off to all of you, and it fills up my whole screen, but it totally depends. You don't have, there's no right way to use it. Remember, this is an open-ended creation tool. So I am inside Book Creator now. I hit that gold new book button. I have a cover for my book. And if I hit this plus sign, I can start adding all sorts of things to my page. But I want you to try this out. So let's try it now together during this hands-on webinar. Head over to app.bookcreator.com and open up Book Creator and create a page just like I did. While you do this, I'm going to take a peek at the questions, and that way I'll just know what you're thinking as you get a chance to make your own page. All right, so if you have headed over to app.bookcreator.com, you have the opportunity to sign in like a teacher. Maybe it's Google Single Sign-On that you use just like me. And when you get started, if it's your very first time in there, you might see some questions that will ask you about kind of who you are and what you're excited about. And then you have the opportunity to hit that gold button and create a new book. So that's where we're gonna try some things out today. And as you're going through, if you have questions, you can use that question box in the GoToWebinar control panel on the side of your screen. Let's see here. Rini, you can find the blog for Book Creator right on Book Creator's website. So they have a whole bunch of resources, including the books that I shared with you and their library of examples. You'll be able to find that there. Suzanne, I see your message about accessing a Book Creator. Make sure that you're on the Chrome web browser on your device, and then you're heading over to app.bookcreator.com. I put that in the chat, the link in the chat all the way at the bottom, so that you'd be able to just click on that and it'll take you right there. If you have more questions as you're listening, go ahead and put them into the question box as well. So the difference between the teacher sign-on, or the teacher's version, if you will, and the student version is really all about the teacher dashboard and the teacher being able to see all of the books that their students make. So when you jump in today and you create a book, it's just for you to see. When you invite students to join in your library, which we'll talk about tonight too, this gives you the opportunity to see all of their books and watch their creations in real time. There are no set number of pages. Patricia asked the question about that. You can add and delete as many pages as you want as you work. I've asked the folks at Book Creator specifically about the number of pages, and there is no limit. And I've had lots and lots of people create books with lots of pages, and we haven't had any issues with hitting a limit. Once you choose your size of your page when you first start your new book, that's where your kind of size option is. So that's what you're going to be looking at there. So when I come in, now my book is going to be landscape. I can use let me jump out of here, this button here to create new pages, and I can even see all of my pages up here at the top with my 3 pages. So I'm just going to come back out here to show you again. Remember, I hit new book. If I want to change the size, I'd have to start over and choose a new size, like here's my square, and then I'm able to create my book. So I'll come back to the questions that I see jumping in there, but we're going to keep moving so I can show you off a few more things. So after you have started your page, that plus sign at the top allows you to add all sorts of media to your page. So the plus sign lets you import images, take a picture, use the pen tool, add text, and even record your own voice. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first one, which is to add media for your kind of images or anything you want to add like that. So remember, here I am on my page. I hit the plus sign. This is all my media. The first button is the import. So when I click on import, I can do a few different things. I can add files from my computer. I can add files from my drive. Maps and embed are also an option. We'll talk more about that in future webinars this summer. Or I have the Google image search. So I'm going to type in the Badlands, just like Badlands National Park, and see what kind of pictures pop up. So here I have images that are shown as labeled for commercial reuse with modification. So this Google image search is already built in. There's the opportunity to change what kind of piece I'm looking for. A photograph here. Maybe I want some little purple, like a sunset picture, and then I can click and add this one to my page. Let's see, it's giving me a little trouble there. Go to import, do my Google image search again, choose my color that I want, and we'll go ahead and add this one. There we go, to the page. And you'll see here's my image here on the page. So I did my plus sign, my import, and then I searched here, chose an image, and add it to my page. So I'd love for you to try this out now to see if you can add an image to your page just like I did by clicking the plus sign at the top of the screen. As you add some images to your page, I'm going to go ahead and take a peek to see what other questions have come through. So awesome questions as you are adding pictures to your page. Rebecca asked about having 80 students making a book this summer. So with the free version of Book Creator, you can make one library with 40 books. With the paid version of Book Creator, you can make up to 10 libraries, each with 100 books in it each. So if you're working with more than 40 students, you might want to check that out if you have a big group this year. I also saw a question about how many books students can create. So the teacher limit for the library and the number of books then becomes what students have access to. So students will need to be invited into your library in order to make a book. So depending on how many books are in your library, that's going to depend on how many your students can create. Another question came in about making books on iPad and getting them over to Chrome. So think about those as two separate things for now, because with Chrome, you're logging in, it's saving to your email, to the cloud, and then with your iPad, it's saving it just straight to your iPad, and that's where your books on the iPad live. Let's keep going as you continue to play around inside Book Creator. In addition to adding an image to your page, you can use the pen tool to annotate and illustrate. So let's jump back over to the live version here. I'm going to go ahead and hit the plus sign and use the pen tool. This allows me to choose which size I want. Let's get a little bit thicker there. Choose what color I want. I'll go for purple here. And now I can use this to draw anything I want here, hit done, and it places this as a separate image on top. So I can actually move around my arrow. This pen tool, which you access by hitting the plus sign, then going to pen, gives you the opportunity to illustrate or annotate right on your page. So if you have your Chrome browser open, I'd love for you to try this out yourself. Use the pen tool now to illustrate or annotate that image you added to your page. And while you do that, I'll take a peek to see if any other questions have come in through. Great. So as you are illustrating or annotating, remember you can change colors, you can change the width of the pen tool as you use it. So there are lots of ways to really customize this. Great for color coding with students as well. So a question came through about archiving old books. Yep, you can archive old books if you have no use for them anymore. So that way you can delete them or get rid of them if you want to. So if you are kind of playing around today, you can always delete this book and start fresh if you wanted to. So keep on playing around. If you want to use the pen tool to illustrate or annotate, the next piece I want you to know all about is how to add text to your page. So when we talk about ebooks, we often think about text first, like a traditional book, but of course there's the multimedia features like the illustration and like the ability to add images. But adding text is so important, and I want to show you some really special things about adding text in Book Creator. So I'm back here with my image. And with my illustration or my annotation here, I'm going to hit the plus sign, and now I'm going to add text. Just so you know, I skipped camera. Camera is just if you want to hold something up in front of your webcam and snap a picture. So that's what the option is going to be. Text here, I can type in anything. Maybe it's the title of my book, or maybe I'm going to use this voice to text and it'll convert what I say into text here. Totally up to you. Now, when you're in this composition mode, you'll only see bold, italic, underline, or link options. But don't worry, you can customize the text after you add it to the page. So right now, it's nothing special, just a little boring here, right? So anything that's highlighted in blue, I can then go to the inspector button and I can change the font size. I can change the type of font if I want it to look a certain way. I can change the color here if I want it to be a particular color. I can even put a background on it if I want to, and then I can place it anywhere that I want here on my page. So when I want to add text, I hit the plus sign and I add my text. And when I've added it to the page, I can click on it so it's highlighted in blue, and then use the inspector button to make it look just right for me. So I would love for you to now try to add some text to your page, maybe change the font a little bit. And as you add the text to your page, I'll take a peek and see what other questions have come through. So one question came in now as you're adding text to your page, all about using videos as a publishing option. We'll talk a little bit about publishing options on Chrome today. When you're on an iPad, you also have that share button to share, but don't worry, we'll make sure to talk about publishing options as we go through today. So as you are adding text to your page, you may want to try the voice to text option. You may want to try changing the font or the color. This is your chance to play around and add some things to your page. Next up to share with you is the opportunity to, there we go, to add your voice, to record your voice on the page. As you see here in this screenshot, I have a countdown clock at the top that's recording my voice right into Book Creator. Let's see it here. So when I see the cover here, I can use the plus sign. I can go to the record button, and when I hit start recording, it will record my voice. So it counts down, and then I can't wait for you to read my book all about the Badlands. Then I press stop recording. It lets me replay to make sure it's just right, and then use the recording button to then add the recording to my page. I can press it here, put it wherever I want. So to add the recording of recording your voice, you use the plus sign, you hit the record button. It uses the microphone on your device. So if this is your first time using Book Creator, you might see a little pop-up that says, is it okay to record your voice? And then you'll give them permission if it's okay with you, and then you can record your voice right there. So I'd love for you to try this out. It'll be our last tryout for today. Try recording your voice using the plus sign, the record button, maybe just say your name or a quick hello so that you can get a little recording button on your page too. And while you do that, I'm going to take a peek at questions. Ooh, Terry asked a question about closed captioning for the webinar for today. The live webinar in GoToWebinar, I know the Book Creator folks are looking into the live closed captioning. There will definitely be closed captioning on the recorded version of this. So when you see this up on YouTube after we're finished with it today, it will definitely have closed captioning on it. I know that the folks at Book Creator are looking into the live closed captioning. So sorry, Terry, if I missed that question from you earlier. I know there's a lot of questions coming in here, so I want to make sure I can get to as many folks as possible. So let's go ahead now. If you haven't already, try recording your voice. I know I'm kind of talking a bit, so I'll be quiet for just a moment as I look over to see what other questions pop up here. Okay, I saw a question come in also about some issues with accessing on a Lenovo laptop. So Suzanne, make sure to send me a message. If you want to take a screenshot of what the error message that you see, I'll pass it along to the Book Creator folks so that they can take a peek. I want to make sure we know it works for sure on your device. We can also check in to make sure you have the latest version of Chrome. So that might be part of it too. So thanks for letting me know about that. Make sure to send me a message just to let me know. That way I can take a peek and pass that along to the Book Creator folks. So we've given you a couple opportunities tonight to try recording your voice. That way you can jump in and go through with recording your voice, with adding text and trying out all these different things today. I want to give you a couple more things to consider. You can try it out as I'm talking through some other pieces, but know that this will be recorded for you so you can watch it and try out some of the features I talked about and pass it along to your colleagues as well. So there's also the opportunity to change the background. When you do click on an item, remember I clicked on the text and then hit the I for inspector before, that gave me the opportunity to modify the text. But if I haven't clicked on anything on my page and I go to that I inspector button, it will give me the opportunity to change the background of the page. So you might want to try this out if you haven't used Book Creator recently. Take a look at all the new backgrounds that they've put in. There are so many to choose from. You can also use the plus sign to add shapes. So I was adding from the media side of the plus sign, but the shapes side gives you the opportunity to add squares, stars, talk bubbles, you name it, and you can change the colors of them, change the shape of them, even layer them on top of one another. So lots of ways to use that particular option. Then when it comes to sharing books, when you are on Chrome, you will see a handful of options for sharing your book. When you come back to your home screen, so this is me creating my new book, then hitting my books to come back to my home screen here of my library, the share button down here is going to give you these 4 options. So we'll take a look at it on the screenshot here. The first is to publish your book online, which is for the whole world to see. Then you see the collaborate option. This is for folks who have the paid version of BookReader. We're going to do a whole webinar on collaboration later this summer. So if that piques your interest, definitely mark your calendars for that webinar. The next share option is to download it as an ebook. This will allow you to export what you've made as an ebook file. So it'll come through an EPUB format. Then there's the option to print. This will be in PDF format. So it's really like you're exporting your book as PDF. That means if you added your voice or you added video, it's not going to play because it's like printing it out on a piece of paper. So just important to consider when you think about sharing student final products. So something to consider, that share button down here at the center of the screen lets you publish online, download as an ebook or print, and it also gives you the opportunity to access the collaborate feature, which we'll talk about in a future webinar later this summer. So when you are ready to get started with your students, you can set up and share a library with them. So the teacher login lets you create an account, then it lets you create a library. You'll then find the invite code and share the library with students. So I'll show you what that looks like here. Here's my library, and I go to the top of the screen. It shows me, the owner of the library, and it gives me the opportunity to add a co-teacher, someone else who's going to lead with me here. Then I can add authors to the library. This is where your students come in. So you are creating the big library where all of your kids' books will sit on the bookshelf. So you will click this button, invite others to join, and then you will share this code with students. Students, when they log in using their student sign-on, will be prompted to add this code. So if your kids are using email addresses, this is what you're going to give them. The code that you access from the upper right-hand corner of your library when you invite others to join. If your kiddos are using QR codes, you'll go to your little person, your avatar in your account, and then you'll hit QR logins, and this will give individual logins for each student. So when I mentioned the logistics earlier, that's going to depend on how you decide to invite students in. Then you share the library with students. So that's by giving them the code or by giving them a QR code to scan. So the teacher dashboard allows you to create multiple libraries. So the free version gives you 1 library. The paid version gives you 10 libraries. So if you are teaching multiple classes, you may want more than 1 library, or if you're teaching the same group of students every day, you may want to have a library for each subject area. So you can also, as a teacher, join in other libraries. So if your school is using this from a professional learning standpoint, you have that too. If you scroll to the very bottom of your teacher dashboard, you'll see all sorts of resources, ebooks, full of ideas to bring back to your classroom. So before we jump into Q&A to round out our time together tonight, I want to give a shout out to some extra resources. There are support pages for BookReader. You can access all the support pages from BookReader by going to support.bookreader.com. There you're going to find more information about collaboration, publishing books, and privacy, which we all just touched upon today. In the extra resources that Book Creator offers, they have a free newsletter. You can also find their archive of newsletters on their website. And they have a Facebook group for Book Creator teachers. It's lots of fun, and monthly Twitter chats. So if you search for Book Creator teachers on Facebook, you'll be able to find them. Or if you go to hashtag Book Creator on Twitter, you can jump into one of their monthly chats. There are also free ebooks. I've created a couple for them, and so have some other Book Creator ambassadors that specialize in some of the areas that we talked about today. So if science projects or elementary school piques your interest, you'll want to check out those books, those resources. So before I close up our time together this evening in our quick overview of Book Creator, I'd love to hear any other questions that have just popped up. So I'm going to take a peek now in the question box so I can answer any of your questions that come through tonight. So if you want to publish online, you should treat that as a public link for anyone to see. Remember, if no link is totally private, because if one person has it, they can share it with someone else. So publishing it online is something that you should consider if you're ready to share your student books with the world and you have permission to do so. If you want to keep things offline, you can use the EPUB version and share that as a file. So that will allow you to share kind of that way. The teacher dashboard that we looked at today is accessible on the free and the paid version. So saw that question come through, but of course that will be dependent on just how large your library is, will be dependent on which version you have. The video version of this webinar from today will be up on the YouTube channel shortly, so stay tuned. I don't have the exact time for you, but once we're finished up here, it'll be a pretty quick turnaround for you to be able to share as well. Let's see. Students can create their own books totally for free. So the number of books really depends on the teacher. So the teacher sets up the library and then invites students in. So a student could be part of a few different teachers' libraries over the course of the school day, over the course of the year. There is no fee to download the books. I saw that question come through. So you are downloading the book as a file, and then you can share it if that's the way you want to share it. There's no fee for publishing online as well. If you have some unused pages in a book you want to delete, you'll just hit the Pages button at the top of the screen, and that will allow you to access all of your pages. So I'll show you that real quick. If I jump in here, go to Pages at the top, then I can delete these extra pages that are blank. So you have that as an option too. So before we finish up today, remember there are a host of webinars happening this summer. You can access all of them at bookcreator.com/webinars to sign up for the live event like tonight. Our next one is 10 days away, project ideas for the science classroom with Book Creator. So I hope you'll join us for that one or one of the others that are happening this summer. There's plenty of things we didn't talk about tonight, like collaboration and templates and more robust options for publishing. So tune in to these webinars this summer if you want to know a little bit more about that, and feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions as you're diving into Book Creator this summer. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I can't wait to see what you create. Feel free to tag me at Class Tech Tips, to tag Book Creator at Book Creator App, and we are so excited to see what you make with Book Creator this summer. Have a fantastic evening, and thank you so much for joining us today.